You spent your professional life leading young men and women, but overwhelmingly young men. So I would love to borrow a bit of that experience. If you had a message for fathers that have sons still at home, what would you say to them today? There's a lot of voices competing for how they should think and what they should do and how they should help shape those young lives. What would you say to those fathers?
What I would say to you is, first of all, set the example. Set the example for your son. He's got to know what a man is supposed to do, and I've got to tell you, in our society today, I know it's no surprise to you, but men don't even know what men are supposed to do in many ways because they have been beaten down. They've been told that they're no different from a woman, and that's simply not true, and it's not just their plumbing. I mean, the men come out of the womb meant to be warriors. Warriors. You understand what I'm saying? Warriors. Men come out of the womb meant to be warriors. But in many cases, they are conditioned to be just the opposite from that. But I would say, men, set the example for your son. Let them see you pray. Let them understand how important it is for your children to see you pray. And look, you're going to make, at times, bad judgments. You're going to make, I will say, mistakes, but be careful when you talk to somebody about a mistake. When some guy says, well, yes, I slept with this woman, even though I'm married, and it was a big mistake. No, it was not a big mistake. It was a choice. It was a choice. Don't let them off the hook, because the next thing they'll say is, and everybody makes mistakes, but everybody doesn't make the choices that you've made. And I would say to men that spend time with your son. Spend time with your son. I used to take my sons up on the Appalachian Trail, and we would walk for days up there. And it was a time, you can't believe how just being with them in a setting where there's no distractions really bonds you with your son. And they've got to see you pray. They got to know you're living your faith, and you need to spend time with them. And that's one of the things that you can't get back. If you don't spend time with them, you're not going to get that time back.
I mean, I'm going to plug something since he opened the door. You know, I would agree 100% with what he said, but don't think of it in terms of special events, the twice a year you go hike the Appalachian Trail or whatever. Once a week at the kitchen table with your family, let your sons see that you value that family enough that you'll change your schedule and expect them to change their schedule, and that no knuckle-headed set of coaches are going to take that away from you. Whatever that takes. Once a week, as a family, at a table, this is doable. It'll take the whole family to make it happen, and the first few times it'll make you sore, like working out when you haven't been lazy for a season, but it's worth the discomfort to get to a better place.
Let me just add one thing to that, and I should have said this. The other thing which is very, very important is let your sons see how you treat their mother. If you want them to be a good husband as well as a good father, let them see you treat their mother with honor, and it will have an impact on them. My sons now, and I was conscious of that, and I tried to do that. I would never walk through a door before my wife. I would always open the doors for her. Those small things that people think are antiquated now are still valuable if you're trying to set the stage for your son to be a good husband and father.
You gave the strength of your youth to defending and serving this country, which hasn't been a particularly chic thing to do for a while. And I think, in the diminishment of our attitude towards the military is connected, in my mind at least, to the diminishment of the respect we have for law enforcement and for first responders. You can speak to this from experience. Do you regret it? Has it been a good thing for you? What would you say to the young men that are looking at their futures and the families that are looking for the futures? You see, parents, we have to value those things for our kids to value them, but do you think you made a mistake? Should you have been a Marine?
I deliberately didn't say anything about Marines. I can't believe he did that. I'm going to tell you something now. You opened the door. You know what the mascot of the Army is? What is it? It's a mule. Watch the Army-Navy game. It's a mule. Well, the Marine Corps is part of the Navy, right? So when the founding fathers were developing the plan, the Army got the mule and the Navy got the Marine Corps. Now, why? Why is that? Because the Army had first choice.
The first time the general came here, we were downstairs and we got on the elevator and a couple other men got on and they were all military. Now, I didn't grow up in the military, I didn't serve, so I don't understand a lot of things. And I didn't understand there might be a little banter between, and it was the general and two Marines. Marines never retire, I apologize. And we got on the elevator and that door closed and they started in on one another. And all I could think was, God, if you'll get me off this elevator, I'll never do anything this foolish again. But I asked about serving.
Larry brought that up when he picked me up at the airport the other day. And he said, the pastor thought we were really going after each other. He just doesn't understand that. But no, I don't think, if I had it to do over again, I'd go back in the military. I'd go back into the U.S. Army, and I'd spend another 36 years. I don't regret it. And let me say this to you. I've talked to a lot of people that have said, well, I wish I'd stayed in, or I wish I'd been in the Army, or been in the military. I've never heard anybody say, I regret the time that I spent in the military. You will never regret it. And let me tell you, if you got a son or a daughter, either one, that aren't sure what they want to do with their lives, there's a good way to get them on the right track. And we're getting back to being a real Army. We're getting back to having a focus. We are now focusing on getting ready to win the nation's wars. And Douglas MacArthur stood in the West Point Mess Hall, that's the dining facility, in 1962, and he looked down at the cadets there and he said, your mission remains fixed, determined, inviolable. It is to win the nation's wars. That has not changed, but when we got into this cycle of all this woke nonsense, there was no focus on winning wars. That mission has not changed. But when we were more concerned about somebody knowing the proper pronouns than being able to hit the target downrange, that was not preparing for war. And if we had been called up then, it could have been an ugly situation. But now, as soon as we had a new president, the recruiting went off the scale. It went off the scale. And we have to recognize that that's what our military is for. So I have no regrets whatsoever in
Trust me when I tell you, my body is so beat up right now from that. I've been shot once. I've been hit with a mortar once. I've had a parachute fail. And I, believe it or not, I went through this. Can I tell this? You know what free fall parachuting is? It's different than static line. The static line, the plane pulls you, and you're only 1,200 feet up. But when you go into a free fall, you go up very high. I've been as high as, and over in Europe, I've been as high as 24,000 feet. And we jump out, and you fly for a little ways till you get stable, and then you pull, and then you just fly the canopy. So I had never had any training when I started doing that. I mean, that was kind of stupid, but. And I told the people last night, I have a fear of heights. I honestly have a fear of heights. That's no joke. So I said to the guys one day, I said, hey, I can do that. I'm watching you. I'm watching what you do. I can do that. Let's take me up. I want to do that. And they took me up, and this was one of these. It was a CIA airplane, and you had to climb out on the strut. Climb out on the strut. And so I climb out on that strut, and it dawns on me, what are you doing? And I thought, Lord, if you will get me through this, I'll never be this stupid again. And I jumped, but so I did 3 jumps with no training. And then on the 4th jump, I got out, and my parachute malfunctioned. The automatic opening device opened at the same time I pulled my canopy, and the 2 of them just kind of ate each other like this. It's the worst entanglement you can have. And I'm sailing through the air knowing that I'm going to be killed. And I just said, Lord, don't let me die. And the Holy Spirit said to me, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And I went into the trees, some 80-foot pine trees, and one of those pine trees snagged. And I went all the way to the end of the ropes, and I hit my knee on a stump, and I got up and walked away from it. And God will never leave you nor forsake you.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.